Howdy doody everybody, I'm Dave Shapcott. I live in Auckland, New Zealand. I travel frequently to Vietnam where I've met some wonderful people who've become my friends, and I would like to talk to you today about one of these people, and here she is, Tran Thi Huyen. And we met Huyen with my wife and I in 2004 when my wife went up to the Silk Street with the intention of having some clothes made for her. And the lady of the shop handed us over to Huyen, who was the English speaker in the shop, and her job was to deal with the foreigners. So with Huyen's help, Helen had this lovely jacket made just here. As you can see, nice embroidery on the bottom of it. Lovely job. And Huyen, while we were there, invited us out socially with her, and she took us out to this place here, the Hanoi Jazz Club. Now that may seem a contradiction in terms to many of you, thinking that there is a jazz club in Hanoi, but there is. The guy that runs it loves jazz. He teaches at the music school, and he brings many of the music students to the club of an evening to play jazz. Great experience. Highly recommended for any of you who are travelling to Hanoi. And while we were out with Huyen, she said that her business, her ambition was to become a businesswoman and to own her own dressmaking business. And I thought, oh yeah, here we go again. I meet many people in poor countries whose ambition is to become a business person, and what they really mean by that is that they're sitting around today doing nothing, waiting for a rich foreigner to turn up to give them the money to set their business up. So I said to her, oh, okay, so what are you doing today to establish that business? So she said, well, I work in the Silk Street, I've learned English so I can deal with foreigners, and I go around all of the shops in Silk Street, and I make contacts there so that I know who to approach when I need materials for my business. So I'm building up my list of contacts. I said, okay, what about actually running a business? Because it's one thing to know how to be a dressmaker, it's quite another thing to be a business person. She said, well, the lady at the shop that I work at is teaching me about business. We go over the books every day, and she shows me what you need to do to keep the business viable and what to notice if things are starting to go haywire and what to do about that. So she said, you know, I'm learning that way. I said, okay, and what about dressmaking then? So she said, well, I'm doing a dressmaking course, and next year I will do it full time and finish the course. I was, oh, pretty good, you know. This kid's onto it. She's not just sitting around imagining that the business will just run itself. She knows that it takes a lot of work, and she's prepared to put that work in. Good on her. So next year I went back to Hanoi, and this time I enrolled at Bac Qua in order to learn Vietnamese language. And while I was there, I went round to the dressmaking course where Huyen was, and met up with her again, and we went out a little then, and she finished the course, and she rented premises from her aunt, and at the premises, which was just amounted to a single room, she built a mezzanine floor and brought herself, her sister and her brother, and they slept on the mezzanine floor at night and worked on her business during the day. And I came back 2 years later, and by now she had employed about 5 or 6 more people, and she had her business looking like a business. And so here she is outside the premises, and that's a model that she has sitting outside the shop. And here is another picture, and as you can see, the premises are called Som Ngop. Som Ngop means the life of Ngop, and Ngop is the second name of her sister. And here is her sister here in the premises with the other workers working away hard. This is Tui Ngop, and that's the troops all working hard. And while I was there, Huyen said to me, look, we need money to buy machines, or rather to pay off the machines that we've got, and also we need money to buy an interlocker machine so that we can expand the business. Oh, well, it looks pretty viable to me. Not that I know much about business, but you know, it's looks like a thrive of activity. So sure. So I gave her some money, and she got some more materials. So Helen and I came back again in 2007. By then, Huyen was well set up. She was employing about 10 people at this stage, and she wanted to rent another room nearby to set up another workshop there. So yeah, we helped her out, of course. You know, great admiration, she's doing good. And then I came back again in 2008, and this time Huyen told me that she had expanded more and was employing more people, and that one of the things she was doing was she was going around all the local businesses and saying to the managers, look, I know you have your people working hard here, working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and you like them to stay at their desks all day, and you bring food into them and drinks into them so they can stay working uninterrupted. You know, pretty tough over there. And she said, what I propose is, in order that your workers have all got nice clothing, that I bring my people in, we go around from desk to desk, they look at the magazines that I've got, because by then Huyen had got me to send her a subscription to Vogue magazine, so she had all the latest fashions. They can choose what dresses or suits that they would like made for them, and I'll make these and bring them back to the desk. We can alter them as need by, and that way your people can all be well dressed all the time, and I can have a good business going. Manager said, fine by us. So that's what she did. She also went to the local TV company and got a similar deal with them to address all of the workers and the presenters at the TV company. So while I was there in 2008, she introduced me to a very nice chap. She said was a cardiac surgeon, and we went out a few times, and then she said that the cardiac surgeon had proposed marriage to her. Now, Vietnam's a poor country. A woman married to a cardiac surgeon is guaranteed a comfortable life. So I said, well, so what are you going to say? So she said, well, I'm going to turn him down because I'm not in love with him. And I said, well, aren't you tempted by the comfortable lifestyle? She said, well, yes, but I think it is better that I provide the money for myself rather than rely on a man, because if the marriage doesn't work, then I'll be left destitute. Whereas if I have my own business, then I've got a guaranteed source of income. Good on you. So when I came back next, Huyen had got married to a very nice chap that she met at one of the businesses that her company was going and making clothes for. And her sister and her sister-in-law were also married, of course, and she proposed to the girls that they all get pregnant at the same time. So that way, when they had babies, all the children would grow up together. So when they all got pregnant at the same time and the babies came, she brought her mother in from the countryside, and this is her mum here with Huyen, and her mum was brought in and given a bed in the nursery at the big house where they all lived, and the mum's job was to look after the children during the day while a woman went to work. And way she worked hard there, no doubt. And Huyen got us to give us some more money to employ more people, And by now she had quite a little cohort of people. It was about 13 to 15 people she was employing altogether, and then she was outsourcing the embroidery work to the ladies at the village that she came from. So she's employing a lot of people, about 15 people, and the ladies at the village. So I was really chuffed and really proud of her. She's done great, and she's made Helen and I some lovely clothes. I'd like to show some of these to you here. So here's a jacket she's made for Helen there, lovely embroidered jacket that the ladies at the village have all embroidered, beautiful. And here's a nice evening dress that Helen wears when we go out, beautiful, beautiful dress. And over here, some clothes for me. Here's my little suit that she made, a silk suit. So I like this. There's a coat that I have, and here is another linen suit that she made for me. And she's made clothes for my niece and for my friends. So she's doing great, by us. And if anyone goes over to Vietnam, I highly recommend they go around to the shop Som Mop and to get some clothes made. So Huyen has continued to take me out socially, and my friends out socially. And here are some pictures of us out socially with Huyen. That's with Hom at a nightclub. So we're having a nice time out there. And then the other picture is the teachers at the school that I worked at, and they went out with Huyen and me to a nightclub. I think that nightclub is called the New Century nightclub. So that was a great night out. So I came back again in 2015 and to meet Huyen again, and Huyen invited me out to a restaurant. Now I thought that we were simply going to go to one of the street restaurants, sit on the side of the street and have a meal. Turned out to be a fancy restaurant, and she took some of the people from her business out with us, and there I am, hugely underdressed, and they were all impeccably dressed. So pretty embarrassing, and a tick off for me. And then after that, Huyen took me around and said that she has set up premises in another suburb, and there are some more people that she's employed. She's got about 17 people working for her now, and the other shop provides more custom and expands the areas that she can operate in. So that's my story about Huyen, and I'd just like to say that I'm really chuffed that I met Huyen and that I was able to contribute a small part towards her success. There must be thousands of people living in poor countries who simply just do not have the resources to match their ability and their ambition, and it's a crying shame. So it's a wonderful experience to be able to meet someone who does have great ability, ambition, and a good work ethic, and to cap it off, is a thoroughly nice person to boot. So I'm really pleased that I've met Huyen. We continue to be good friends, and every time I go over to Vietnam, I intend to go more times, I will be going around to see her and getting more clothes made from Huyen. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching.